Throughout my A2 coursework, I've learned to use new technology to help me create my final products. Although some of these are used in my first year, I've gained more knowledge and experience with the programs themselves, allowing me to be able to use new methods and then transfer these new methods into my A2 product. I have also used new technologies for my product. These include video cameras and editing software like Sony Vegas Pro. I've used these technologies and programs through all stages of my A2 coursework, from planning to evaluation, and I'm going to go through some of the programs and technologies now. Right, so the first software which I'm going to talk about is Sony Vegas Pro. The reason I chose to use this software is because I own it at home, therefore editing my videos and getting it all perfect would be much easier as I'd have more time to do it, and then my edit suite at college might already be in use, so I can just go home and do it at home and get it all done. One of the pros inside of Sony Vegas Pro is the fact that you can linear edit. This means you can drag and drop clips all over, and couple this with the timeline mode that they've got, it means lip syncing is far easier and far more effective to do. Another great feature inside of Sony Vegas Pro is the cutting tool. For example, in Premiere Pro you have to get the blade out and then cut it, which takes time, and editing to the beat just is a longer process in general. Whereas in Sony Vegas Pro you can just simply press the S button, so when the beat comes in you press S and it will just cut the clips. I use this in my music video on the scene where it's just a solo and then it's just the beat going in. I was just pressing S all the time to try and get it all to line up perfectly, and it seems to have worked quite well. Another perk of using Sony Vegas Pro is the fact that it's got a zoom feature in it, so if you film something not quite right and not framed it properly, you can go into it and edit it and then zoom in and make the clip tighter to make it look right and framed right, which is what I had to do for some of my clips in my final product. Another great feature inside of Sony Vegas Pro is the ability to add layers. These work similarly to the layers in Photoshop, where you can just add more images on top of the video that you've already got. I use this in my music video at the beginning, where the artist name comes onto the screen in time with the music. I use several layers for that, and then it's worked effectively and it's so much easier to manage. Moving on to Photoshop. I used Photoshop in my first year, and my skills have developed a hell of a lot since then, and I use it in my ancillary text because it's by far the best photo editing software out there on the market. Going back to my layers inside of Photoshop, these have been extremely handy in creating my ancillary text, as I can now create multiple layers and then place the text behind that layers to give it the desired effect that I want and keeping the continuity with the rest of the product, which is what I want, and it makes it look a lot better. Next up we have the lasso tool. This was used to draw around the silhouette of the artist in my ancillary text, and then that could be used to transfer into another layer, so then I can put the text behind it and it works effectively. Next up we have the text tool inside of Photoshop, and this works particularly well as I can choose the text that I want, get the font, the size and the colour, make it all perfect and get in with the continuity of the other product. The next thing to talk about in Photoshop is the ability to put layers into groups. This makes things so much easier as you can easily find out what you need to change really quickly. For example, in my AS coursework I didn't put anything in groups, and it made it extremely difficult to be able to find the flaws and then change them. Whereas in my ancillary text, I was able to find out where they were because I'd labelled them more properly and then change them to the way I wanted them to be. The last thing to talk about is the eraser tool, and I use this to soften out the edges of the silhouette which I'd cut out earlier, which without this it would make it look so obvious that the image was fake, and that's not what I wanted to go for. The camera that I used to film my product and take the photos for my auxiliary text was the Canon 600D. And this is an amazing camera as it shoots in 1080p, and then it just makes the quality so much better, which is what you want out of a camera. One of the abilities of this camera is the ability to use manual focus, and this helps so much while filming my music video, as I was able to change the depth of field quite easily, and without that I wouldn't have been able to pull off the effect that I wanted to pull off in the music video. Another great ability about this camera is the fact that I can colour balance it out inside the camera, so then I can change the filter in post-production, which is what I intended to do, as all the shots they wouldn't match up because they were all filmed at different times. Another piece of technology that I used was Blogger. I use this in my AS coursework as well, and this is good because I've got an archive of work on there, so I can easily access it from anywhere, wherever I be, at home, at college, so I can always add to my blog. It's also really easy to use, really simple to use. It's just like Microsoft Word, but it's online, and it just makes everything so much easier, and I'm so thankful that I used it. Another piece of technology which I used was YouTube, And YouTube has been the best thing to happen to my music video, as I can watch my music videos and get primary and secondary research from that. I can upload my drafts to YouTube, and I've got a worldwide audience on there, so I can get feedback from people across the globe, which is extremely helpful when I'm trying to improve my video to make it the best that it can possibly be.